What's going on, guys? This is Derek J407, and I'm here to give you my thoughts and opinions on the WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view event, the 2018 edition of the Royal Rumble, live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And show just went off not too long ago, and it was a long one, 4 hours. It was not easy to get through, especially with two Royal Rumble matches, but despite that, I have to admit that this was one of the better Rumble pay-per-views within the last couple of years. You know, the last few years, WWE has, given us some pretty lackluster Rumbles, especially one that happened in Philly a few years ago, the 2015 Rumble, which I look at as the worst booked Rumble match of all time. Not the case on this show. I think, for the most part, not every single decision they made in the two matches made complete sense, but I think overall, I can look at the two Rumble matches that took place on this show and look at them and say those were probably the two best overall Royal Rumble matches in many years now. I think the men's was probably the better one, but the women's one, it had clunky spots in there too, but it was pretty good. Nice to see Japan walking away with some big victories. The two Rumble winners were both from Japan. Good to see Japanese talent looking strong on the show. And we got a huge debut at the end of it, and not of a man, but a woman. A big box office attraction for the women's division. Probably the biggest box office attraction the women could possibly get. And they closed the show with that, so I thought that was pretty cool. And even the triple threat match for the Universal Championship, which I was not looking forward to at all on the show, ended up being, among the Rumble matches, probably the best match. So all in all, a good show. So let's just go ahead and get into it. We can start off with the kickoff show. First off, they announced the rules for the Royal Rumble winners, in that the winners could decide which champion they wanted to face. It wasn't what brand you were on, you face that champion. No, the winner of the Rumble has their choice of what champion they want to face. So they made that clear on the kickoff show. They had 3 matches on the kickoff. The first one was some cruiserweight action. It was a 6-man tag team match. The team of Lince Dorado, Gran Metalik, and Kalisto taking on TJP. I'm sorry, I forgot. TJP, Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. Of course, the cruiserweight division has been in a bit of disarray in the last week with the Enzo Amore situation. In regards to that, them firing him, for not telling them of the allegations against him and not informing WWE at all about what was going on. They were in their right to do that. Whether the allegations are true or not, that remains to be seen. Until actual charges are against him and there's actual foolproof evidence, I'm not going to really have much of an opinion on Enzo Amore. But unfortunately, that does cast a shadow over the entire cruiserweight division at the moment. But this little 6-man tag team match was fine. The babyfaces won, the Luchadors. We also had the Revival, who, fresh off of the stench of being the joke at Raw's 25th anniversary show, which I will admit was a bit of a disappointment, if I must say so. The whole two venues thing was kind of weak. Don't do that. They tried it, but don't do it. It clearly didn't work. So the Revival needed a win here, and they got it. And then we had Bobby Roode, the U.S. champion, having an open challenge, which was accepted by Mojo Rawley, but Roode ended up defeating Mojo. So that was that. So we can move on to the main show. Opened up with the handicap match for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles defending the title against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this was a match that I was paying attention to for a good chunk of it, but then I kind of fell out of paying attention to it in certain spots there. I got kind of sidetracked, had to make a quick phone call, and the phone call ended up going a little bit longer than it should have, and I probably should have went back and rewatched the match in its entirety, but unfortunately I didn't really feel like doing that. I just kind of wanted to do this review and talk about the main things that were really important, because to be honest, this match wasn't really that important. The main important thing about it was the fact that AJ Styles won. So we did not get our first ever co-WWE champion, and probably for the best. We had a co-Intercontinental champion back in the day in like 2000 with China and Chris Jericho. That was dumb. Doing co-WWE champion would have been even dumber, but it would have been interesting to see how that would have worked. But Owens and Zayn did not get the job done. AJ knocked Sami Zayn out of the ring. Kevin Owens had AJ down. He got him on for the pop-up powerbomb, but as he came down, AJ turned it into a roll-up and got the victory like that. So AJ retains the championship. He somehow defied the odds in this handicap match, and he remains champion. After the match, backstage, Owens and Zayn were pleading their case to Commissioner Shane McMahon. Why they would do that to Shane and not try to find Daniel Bryan, I don't know. But they were trying to say, Kevin Owens was saying, like, please don't let another referee screw me, and all that kind of stuff. But Shane just kind of laughed them both off, and that was that. So I don't know where this is going. We saw a little tease of a dissension between the two of them later on in the men's rumble. I'll get into that when we get to that, but so I don't really know where this is going. It should be and they kind of played down the whole tension between Bryan and Shane. There was a segment later on, the two of them were back there, congratulating themselves. SmackDown guy won the rumble, so they were kind of both doing the yes chant and getting along. So I don't know where that's going. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, so AJ is still the champion. Up next, another SmackDown match, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, best 2 out of 3 falls. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable taking on the Usos. This was a really good match. Really great back and forth action early on. A lot of great stuff, even before the first fall came in. They were selling a leg injury for Jey Uso. He injured it in the match with Chad Gable on SmackDown last week, so that injury came into play in the early part of this match, but he fought through it. Jimmy came in there, helped him. There were some dives, and they hit an Uso splash on Chad Gable, which Gable kicked out of. But the first fall came where Gable ended up getting, just a bunch of super kicks from both Usos until they got him in the center of the ring and got him right in the middle, and both hit him with simultaneous super kicks, got him down, got the 1, 2, 3 on him. So Usos are up for the first fall. Then we get towards the end. Yes, the end. So we had a really cool spot where Benjamin and Gable hit a heart attack on, I believe it was Jimmy on the outside. They were up on the ring apron and they hit the heart attack move on to the outside. So that kind of took him out of commission. Then Benjamin and Gable started to double team Jay in the ring, selling the injury and all that kind of stuff. So Benjamin and Gable were going for some kind of double team move. Not even sure if Benjamin was even a legal man or not, but they were going for the move, and then Benjamin got Jay, and then Jay rolled up Benjamin. So that's 2 roll-up finishes, 2 matches in a row like this. Jay rolled up Benjamin and got the victory. Usos win 2 straight falls. This was a pretty bad finish. It came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. It looked rushed. The fans didn't really react to it either. So I don't know what the hell that was all about. But did not like the finish of this match. But everything up until that first fall was doing good, and everything after that was kind of meh. It was good. It looked like it was going to kick into that second gear, and then that finish came out right the fuck out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, so I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but it made Benjamin and Gable look stupid, and honestly, it didn't really make the Usos look that much better. So really, really questionable decision there on the booking of that match. Now, let's get into the first of two Royal Rumble matches. This is the first time I'm going to review two Rumble matches in one review, but here we go. The first one was the men's Royal Rumble match, which meant that the women, I think they already announced it earlier, but this meant that the women's Rumble was main eventing the show. Thought it was pretty obvious why it was, and it became obvious at the end, although not for that exact reason, but again, we'll get to that. So we have the men's Rumble first. Jerry Lawler was on commentary, Royal Rumble, Jerry the King Lawler, I guess that's the tie-in. So the first guy's out, Rusev Day, of course the Rumble fell on Rusev Day, and so the takeover, so both very lucky to fall on Rusev Day. So he was number one, and Finn Balor came out at number two. He lasted all the way up until the final four, so a good showing for Finn Balor in this match. He was kind of one of my second options of who I thought would win, and honestly who I wanted to win. So I thought if he wins, he could pull off an Iron Man performance, so that could be pretty cool. So the two of them started out, and let me try to remember everything that happened in this match. Baron Corbin, I think he came out at number 4. Rhino came out at number 3. Corbin came out at number 4. He was out there, cleaning house, but he was barely out there for like a minute, maybe a little over a minute, but he was only out there for a brief period of time because Finn Balor ended up eliminating him. So Baron Corbin got sent over the top rope, got eliminated, looked like an idiot. So first the Money in the Bank cash in, now the Rumble. So it's good times to be Baron Corbin. But once he got eliminated, he pulled Finn Balor out of the ring, laid him out. He attacked Rusev on the other side. Heath Slater, he was coming out, he was in the match and he was making his entrance, and he got laid out by Baron Corbin too. So at least he got his heat back. And so then Heath Slater, he was the next entrant, so he didn't even make it in the match yet. Everyone else was knocked out, so out comes next Elias, who brings his guitar, asks who wants to walk with Elias, and the dude's really over. It's crazy how much over he is with the crowd and on the main roster than he was in NXT. Not that he wasn't over in NXT, but he got booed heavily in NXT, and he still gets his boos here and there, but I think most people cheer him and they really dig his gimmick. So some things work on the main roster a lot better than they do in NXT, I guess. In mid concert, the next entrant came out, and it was the NXT champion Andrade Cien Almas. Really cool to see him in the match. He came out with the championship, had Zelina Vega with him, fresh off of what I call the greatest NXT championship match. And now that I've had time to reflect on it, it's not only that, but the greatest match in NXT history in general, not just championship match, but the greatest match in NXT period. So fresh off of that, he came out here. He was out there for a good long while too. Had a really good showing. So really happy for Andrade. And at this point, everyone who was coming out was basically attacking Heath Slater. Like Andrade attacked him. Other people were attacking him. I think Big E, he came out there and put pancakes in his mouth or some shit. I don't know. But everyone was attacking Heath Slater. Heath Slater still hadn't come into the match yet. And eventually Sheamus entered the match. He brought Heath in there. But once he did, after like a second and a half, Heath ended up eliminating Sheamus. So Sheamus gets the quick elimination spot on his birthday, mind you. It was okay though, because he got the finishing move, the finishing blow, I guess, in the tag team title match later. But I thought that was pretty cool. The number 10 spot, of course, I think it was pretty obvious that I was going to go to Ty Dillinger. His music hit. He never came out though. They cut to backstage. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn jumped him. They were beating him down. Kevin Owens said that he was going to go out there and he was going to take a spot, but Sami Zayn stopped him and said, "Don't worry, I got this." So he came out. He lasted for a little while, but he eventually did get eliminated by Shinsuke Nakamura, who eventually came out there. You had Cesaro come out, Seth Rollins come out. The two of them got into a little bit of a mix-up, and Seth ended up launching Cesaro over the top rope, like way high up in the air, over the top rope, eliminating him. So that was a really cool elimination spot. Back to the thing with Heath Slater and Sheamus. You know, Sheamus put Heath in the ring. Heath eliminated him within a second. Then after that, Bray Wyatt, who came out, ended up eliminating Heath Slater. So, I thought that was pretty cool. All three members of the New Day were in the match, as well as Jinder Mahal. Jinder, he eliminated all of them, I believe. He eliminated Woods, he eliminated Big E, and so the only one left was Kofi. So he goes to eliminate Kofi, knocks him over the top rope, but one of Kofi's feet hit the ground, but the other one is caught by Woods. Woods he's laying on the ground and he's holding Kofi's foot, so technically both feet have not touched the floor yet. Big E gets a big stack of pancakes and Kofi is standing on those. What a waste of pancakes. Like, someone went through the trouble of making all those pancakes and just stomping on them. That was gross. Well, Big E keeping them in his singlet and putting them in people's mouths is gross too. But I guess that's a new version of Mr. Sacco. I don't fucking know. But regardless, Kofi was still not eliminated yet. He managed to get back in the ring, evading elimination. I believe he got like a chair. He started like crawling on. Wait, was that him or I think that was Naomi. I think that was Naomi later on. He did something. See, I always remember the Naomi spot. I forgot what he did, but he avoided elimination. He got in there, but eventually got eliminated anyway. So, Matt Hardy, Woken Matt, he came out there. He had a little face off with Bray, but for a brief period of time there, he and Bray were teaming up, beating up some people. I think they eliminated someone too. Then they eventually started to fight each other and then both eliminated each other. So, not that great of a showing for Matt Hardy. And I'm calling it right now that Sheamus and Cesaro are the tag team champions again. I don't know what kind of match you're going to have at WrestleMania. It could be multi-man, but I do know one of the teams involved in that match that they will have will be Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. So if I have to make a prediction, I say the Bar versus the Revival versus maybe another team, and versus Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, with Bray and Matt winning the tag team titles, with Jeff Hardy in their corner singing "I'll fade away and classify myself as obsolete." So that's my one of my early predictions for a undercard match at WrestleMania right there. So you can come back to this and say, hey, you're right, or say I was wrong, or just don't care. John Cena came out and got attacked by everyone in the ring. People like Seth and Finn and Nakamura and all those kind of guys. But then he eventually cleaned house. But then out came the first big surprise, because one of the problems I had with this match was up to this point, it was just a bunch of undercard guys, mid-card guys, just no ones. A lot of people who you just know have no chance of winning this match. Like, did really all three members of the New Day have to be in the match, really? Nevertheless, it didn't really kill my enjoyment that much. I was liking it up to that point. But the first big surprise that we got was Hurricane Helms. Gregory Helms came out there in the whole Hurricane outfit. He mixed it up with John Cena for a little bit, threatened to give him a choke slam, but Cena ended up giving him the AA over the top rope, eliminated him, got booed, of course. But Hurricane still did the poses and all that kind of stuff, so that was cool. By this point, The Miz was out there, and of course Roman Reigns, who was showered in booze. Nowhere near as bad as were 2015, but it was still pretty bad. He and Rollins shield bombed The Miz over the top rope onto the Miz Taraj, eliminating him. And then Roman turned around and eliminated Seth Rollins. So that was funny. Of course, the fans cheered that. I mean, what else would they do? So that was cool. Adam Cole, another NXT guy, he came out there with his with taped ribs from the night before. Another great match. If Almas and Gargano was the best match of 2018 so far, I think that match between Black and Cole was probably the second best match of the year so far. So he came out. Randy Orton came out, gave Almas, Andrade Cien Almas, he gave him an RKO in midair, eliminated him. Almost, like I said before, lasted a really good amount of time in there, so I'm very proud of him. And then we get to number 30. So everyone's out there by that point. Oh wait, before that, Rey Mysterio. I think he was number 27. He came out there, got a big ovation. Last time Rey Mysterio was in a Royal Rumble was 2014 at number 30, and let's just say he got a different reaction than when he got here tonight. There was different circumstances in 2014 than there were here. So him coming out here got a huge ovation. The dude looked great. I mean, we've seen him in Lucha Underground, and he's looked really good in Lucha Underground, but here he, like, I could have swore, just like, if you just look at him, and especially in there, you know, compared to everyone in there, and you know how small he looked, but just his physique, he looked like Rey Mysterio, WCW Rey Mysterio, you know, like 97, 98 kind of thing, you know, or right when he came into WWE in like 2002 or something like that. You know, he looked really good. And you know, he's flying around there, hit 619s, all that kind of stuff. So good to see Rey. I don't know if he's back, you know, as a part-time thing, you know, to make appearances here and there. Maybe he'll go in the Hall of Fame. Who knows? But it was good to see Rey here. But now, number 30 ended up being Dolph Ziggler, which was appropriate, seeing that 2015 Rumble match in Philly that I was talking about. Dolph was number 30 in that match, and he only lasted 2 minutes, and he got dumped out by Big Show and Kane like a sack of garbage. One of the poor booking decisions of that match that I was alluding to. And here, him coming out at number 30, because, you know, Dolph won the U.S. title at the last SmackDown show, and then on SmackDown later in the week, he just gave up the belt, walked off, and now he just reappears in this match as if we're supposed to care. Who can possibly care about Dolph Ziggler at this point? I don't even know. Of course, the fans really didn't react to it at all. Some cheered a little bit, some booed. A lot of people just didn't really react at all, though. So no one really cared. He ended up getting eliminated pretty quickly. I think it was by Balor, maybe in Nakamura. I don't care. It's Dolph Ziggler. Complete waste of the number 30 spot. I would have preferred they just put Rey Mysterio in that spot. He was coming out anyway. Why not just flip their numbers? Or keep Dolph out of the match, put someone in there who people would actually care about. Maybe a different surprise, I don't know. But that was a waste. Hell, have Kevin Owens come back out and have him be number 30, you know? So, whatever. So you get down to our final 6 people. It's kind of like an old guard versus new generation kind of thing, because on one side was John Cena, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio, and on the other we had Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura, which was a really cool visual. They went at it. Eventually, Orton and Mysterio got eliminated, so it came down to Cena, Roman, Nakamura, and Balor. And this led to different face-offs. Cena and Reigns would face off, and the fans would boo and chant, "You both suck." Then they would get beat down by Balor and Nakamura, who got a huge ovation. Probably some "This is awesome" chants in there. So that was cool. Cena ended up eliminating Balor, so came to Cena and Reigns and Nakamura. Started to double team Nakamura for a little bit, but eventually Nakamura eliminated John Cena, so now it's down to him and Roman. They went back and forth for a little bit. The crowd, of course, was hot, and up until a certain point, I was just liking the match. But when it came down to the final 6, and then the final 4, and then definitely the final 2, I was loving this match. I really was. And these final few moments of the match, I really dug. You had spears and Kinshasas and all that kind of stuff. At one point, Roman countered a Kinshasa. It turned into a spear, which, if this was a regular match, the match would have been over by that point. Nakamura countered a spear. Roman was going for the spear, but Nakamura hit him with a Kinshasa, and he ended up eliminating Roman Reigns, much to the fans' delight, and won the Royal Rumble, which was a prediction that I made months ago, that Nakamura would win the Rumble and challenge for the championship at WrestleMania. So I was very happy to see that. The fans were completely into Nakamura. From the moment he came out, they were into him. And when he won here, they were really into it. Renee Young came out, interviewed him, asked him who he's going to face at WrestleMania, and he the fans were chanting for his name, and he said it, AJ Styles. So as of this moment, the current plan is, as of this moment, the main event of WrestleMania, which we know is not the main event, but, the quote-unquote main event that they have made official is Nakamura versus AJ Styles for the WWE title. So, it's a match people have been begging for probably a year, maybe two, after their first encounter in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom, 10, 11, maybe? It was one in 2016? It was 10, right? Yeah, it was 10. So since that was the first time they faced off, and that was a great match, one of the best matches of that year. And then both of them ended up in WWE at the same time, and we just been waiting for it, and now we're gonna get it. I don't see how Nakamura could lose his Rumble win spot. I don't see how AJ could lose the belt at this point. So, but don't put it past Vince to screw us over. But I think just this once, our dreams have come true. A lot of people, I know there's some people who don't like Nakamura, that think he's been phoning it in and all that kind of stuff. And I do agree that Nakamura is not as special right now as he probably should be. But I think a feud with AJ in a match at WrestleMania with AJ, I think that can really elevate him, So, happy to see Nakamura win. Happy to see a fresh face win the Rumble. That's something that we haven't seen. Think about the past few years of Rumble winners. We've had Triple H, John Cena, Randy Orton, people like that. Roman won, but not because people wanted him to. Batista the 1 year, Roman was a fresh face, but still, the fans shit all over that. So, the fans didn't really shit on this. They loved it. It was good to see, the fans really behind Nakamura. So, glad to see that. And looking forward to seeing him and AJ at WrestleMania. So even though I'm recording this, I'm already exhausted talking about that match, but we still got much more to talk about. So you can imagine how I felt watching the show. This match took so much energy out of me. Not only just the crowd, but me too. Watching at home, on my couch, on my laptop. That took a lot out of me. So when the guys came out for the Raw Tag Team title match, you can bet that I was not really all that into it. And neither was the crowd. The crowd was so tired and deflated. They didn't even boo Jason Jordan that loud. It wasn't no angry boos at him. It was just like, boo, we don't really care. So, the next match was the Raw Tag Team title match. Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan defending the titles against Sheamus and Cesaro. They tried. They went out there, they tried to tell a story. Jason Jordan does have a legit injury, so I was interested to see how they were going to work around that in this match. And they did this thing where Cesaro knocked him off the apron and shoved him face and head first into the steel post, so he kind of sold a concussion kind of injury. So Seth worked majority of the match, got double teamed, had some hope spots here and there, but he mainly got double teamed the whole time. But he did get an opening, and he was able to get to his corner, and Jason Jordan tagged himself in. But when he did, he started to grasp at his head, feel woozy, and he immediately tagged right back out. And that got a pretty loud boo. But yeah, so Jordan selling an injury. Rollins was like, "What are you doing? Get back in there." So he ended up having to fight the bar off by himself again. He kneed Cesaro into his corner, but Sheamus got a blind tag, came in, gave Rollins the bro kick, and they did the Celtic cross kind of diving elbow thing, double team finishing move. Hit Rollins with it, laid him out, got the 1, 2, 3. The Bar are 4-time tag team champions, and I'm pretty sure this is going to set up a Seth Rollins Jason Jordan match at WrestleMania. So it looks like Dean Ambrose will not be back in time for Mania. I was hoping that the injury could be worked, but doesn't look like that's the case. Looks like he's going to be missing Mania, and they're going to plug Jason Jordan into a spot, and I think the full Jason Jordan heel turn will be coming very soon. So we'll see how that works. He's already really good in the role of a heel. Although it's kind of the role of he's a heel, but he doesn't realize he's a heel, but everyone treats him like he's a heel because no one likes him. So it'll be interesting to see an actual match between the two of them at WrestleMania, what kind of story they can play for that. I have my own ideas in my head of how to handle Jason Jordan from WrestleMania to about SummerSlam, but I'm not going to get into that right now because that would go on for another 30 minutes. Plus, I want to talk about this next match, a match that I judged, but I feel rightfully so. I don't know of anyone who truly cared about this match and who really wanted to see it. That being the triple threat for the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar defending against Kane and Braun Strowman. Now, I love Braun Strowman. A lot of you love Braun Strowman. I respect Kane. Brock is Brock. I like him, but not too many people do. But just this match on paper did not sound exciting. It was not something I wanted to see again. We saw Brock and Braun once, and it wasn't that good. Kane, So, on paper, this match just looked like it was going to be a snooze fest. But they, triple threat match, no DQ. They took full advantage of that. Braun, much like the four-way at SummerSlam last year with Joe and Reigns in there, and he and Brock, they used weapons, but Braun was the star of the match, tossing people around, putting people through tables. He put Brock through a table. He put Kane through a table, I think, or Kane put him through a table. But Braun looked strong. Kane, he was kind of there, but he had some pretty cool spots there too. I think Kane put Brock through a table. He put Braun and Brock through a table. Brock, of course, in these multi-man matches is always cool. He F5'd Braun through a table and overturned another announced table onto him, which was a callback to the SummerSlam spot. He also F5'd Kane through a third announced table. Table didn't break it right away, so Kane just kind of splatted on top of it, which looked like it sucked, I'm sure. But, so that was cool. Braun got up. He got back in the ring. He started to fight back against Brock. He laid him out with a bunch of power slams. Brock kept getting back up. Kane used a chair on Braun, but, and knocked Braun out of the ring. Then it was down to Kane and Brock. Kane went for a tombstone on Brock, but Brock kind of got out of it. And at this point, Braun got back up on the ring apron, but Brock pushed Kane into him, knocked him off the ring apron. And then Brock got Kane up, hit him with the F5 onto a steel chair, got the 1, 2, 3. Brock retains the title, and I assume will be heading into WrestleMania as the champion, and we will be getting the match that we have known about for about a year now. They announced on the show 4 weeks from tonight, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, a Raw show, and I assume that match, well, first of all, I assume there will be two, probably a women's match on that show, but I assume the men's chamber match will be to determine the number one contender for the Universal title at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure we all know who's going to win that and who will be challenging Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania 34 to get his official coronation as the top guy. I feel like he's been coronated like 3 or 4 times, but this will be the official one, I guess. So we know where this is leading, and it's just a matter of getting there. But, yeah, this was a match that I was not looking forward to, but they delivered. Kane did his part. Brock was great. Braun is my favorite actor in the company. Heard reports that it looks like Braun will be facing Miz for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, which, is a big match for the Intercontinental Championship. Something that we have not had at WrestleMania in a long time is a big Intercontinental Championship match. They had an opportunity to do that a couple years ago with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but they did not do that. So we'll be getting, it looks like that might be the direction they go in this year. So, yeah, it's better than Braun and Kane. Or Braun and Triple H or something like that. So that's going to be the direction that they're going to head in for that. So, like I said, yeah, good match. And now we get to the main event, the very first ever women's Royal Rumble match, 30 women over the top rope, Royal Rumble elimination match. Made a big deal about it. use the word history a lot. Heard that word more than I ever did in any of my history classes, that's for sure. They can be quite overbearing with the whole history, women's revolution, evolution. It can be nauseating, especially with Stephanie McMahon out there. That's right, Stephanie McMahon, the unbearable character of Monday Night Raw, who we have not seen all that much recently, and the past couple of times we have seen her, it hasn't been too bad. My question is, what's worse? The Stephanie McMahon who comes out there, slaps people around, berates them and emasculates them, men and women, all that kind of stuff. Is that worse, or is the woman who comes out there as the mother hen and basically the savior of the women's division and just being heralded as this goddess among the entire women's division? What's worse? I don't know. Either way, she's got to go. I thought for sure she was only out there because they were going to do an angle where she would enter the match, probably at number 30 or something like that, but they didn't do that. I'm happy they didn't do that. And honestly, her commentary, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't great. You could have had almost anyone else out there. She served no purpose, but it could have been worse. So I can say that. As for the match itself, not better than the men's, but it was pretty good. They definitely beat the men in surprises. There were a lot of surprise entrants in this match. Lita was the first big one. She came out at number 5. She was the first big surprise of the match. Got a huge ovation. Squared off with people in the match like Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, who were the first 2 entrants in the match. So that was pretty cool. Shocked that she came out so early and we didn't get a face-off with her and Trish Stratus later on. Thought that was interesting. But Trish had her own little face-off there that I liked, and we'll get to that later. Lita eventually did get eliminated, though. I forgot by who, but she did I think it was by Becky. But yeah, she got eliminated. Had some NXT talent in this match. 2, but one of them was Kairi Sane. Came out there, got a big ovation, hit a lot of really cool moves. She hit her elbow, their beautiful elbow drop. So good to see a bigger audience see that. That was cool. Some more surprises. We had more surprises in the first half of this match than we got in the entire men's Rumble match, that's for sure. Number 9 was Tori Wilson. One of my first real crushes, like a lot of the divas, I guess you would call them, back in the day were, very beautiful, very hot, very sexy and all that kind of stuff, but she was just absolutely gorgeous to me back in the day. She wasn't a great wrestler by any means. Trish and Lita were the better wrestlers, even Molly Holly and Victoria and all them, but Tori was definitely someone who I really, really liked looking at back then. So it was cool to see her. Molly Holly, speaking of the devil, Molly Holly, with her hair back, not bald or wearing a wig like she did in 2004, but, she came out there, looked great. Michelle McCool came out there. I think she was number 14. She came out there. She looked impressive. She eliminated like 3 or 4 different women. She looked to be in great shape. Didn't look like she lost a step. She looked great out there. Hell, they signed Nikki to a contract. Go ahead and sign Michelle McCool to a contract, too, Although, look who her husband is. I don't know if it's best to have her on the road every week. I think her husband needs her a little bit more than we do, but she was really impressive. Of all the legends in this match, she was definitely probably the most impressive out of all of them to me. The biggest shock to me was Vicky Guerrero. The buzzer hit for number 17 to come out, and we heard that shrill voice screaming, "Excuse me." She came out there. Not as much heat as it was, like, when Vicky Guerrero was around weekly, she got heat, like, all the time. You could always guarantee that Vicky Guerrero would be the biggest heat magnet in the company, so it wasn't that bad tonight, mainly because the fans were chanting Eddie, which, I thought was really nice. But, all the women who were in the ring at that moment, like Michelle and Sasha and Becky and all them, they all eliminated her. She went to leave, and then Carmella came out with her briefcase, but Vicky stole the briefcase and hit her in the back of the head with it, so I thought that was funny. Kelly came out at 19. She was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. A lot more beautiful now than she was when she was originally in the company. So very beautiful, but still can't wrestle that well. She tried to do that spinning head scissors thing on Michelle McCool, and it kind of fucked it up a little bit, so that it's like, well, they didn't all get better, you know, like, well, she wasn't really that good to begin with, but hey, it was still good to see her. She tried. Jacqueline, the newly inducted Hall of Famer from last year's Hall of Fame class, she came out there, looked impressive. And then number 22 was Nia Jax, who came out there and basically eliminated everyone. She eliminated, I think, Jackie, and I think she eliminated Kelly. Probably eliminated Becky Lynch too. She cleaned house among everyone, and she stood tall in the ring by herself. And number 23, was Ember Moon with her arm taped up after her encounter, I guess you could call it, with Shayna Baszler the previous night at TakeOver. She came out there still selling the arm injury. I don't know how wise that was. I'm pretty sure you had some healthier women from NXT who could have been in that spot, but hey, you have the NXT champion in the men's rumble. I guess it makes sense to have the women's champion in the women's rumble. So she came out there. She did look good. At one point, she had a face-off with Asuka, and the crowd popped huge for that. So good to see the two of them mix it up a little bit, and the fans react to it. She even hit the Eclipse on Asuka, but Asuka kind of used her arm injury to eliminate her. So I thought that was pretty cool. Beth Phoenix came out there at one point, had a face-to-face with Nia Jax. Her and Natalya, who, you know, Natty and Beth are best friends. They double teamed Nia and got her out of the ring. Didn't eliminate her, but knocked her out of the ring. But Natty ended up punching her and eliminating her. So that was nice. Number 27 was Nikki Bella. She came out there, looked great, and ran roughshod for a little while, but then she started to get beat up by the other women. And then number 28 came out, and it was Brie Bella. And this match went down an entire rating because they forced me to hear that damn Brie mode music again. I thought that was dead and buried and gone forever, but they forced me to hear it again. She looked good. She's obviously been training to get back in ring shape to return. Her and Nikki both returning. I don't know if they're going to return full time. I doubt it. But this was their first match back. I knew at least Nikki would be in the match. I didn't think both of them would be. So that was pretty cool, I guess. And then we get to number 30. I was thinking maybe Ronda, maybe Stephanie. They're going to play her music and she's going to stand up from the announce table and get in there. I was dreading that. I was kind of intrigued by the idea of Ronda Rousey. But nope, we got Trish Stratus. She came out there. Big ovation. Pleasantly surprised. And in that moment, I kind of knew in the back of my head, like, I know who's going to win this thing. But nah, she came out there. She looked great. She had a face-off with Mickie James. The crowd popped huge for that. Like I said earlier, I'm surprised they didn't save Lita for that spot to have a face-off between Lita and Trish. But having a face-off between Trish and Mickie was good too. Still to this day, my favorite women's match in WrestleMania history. WrestleMania 22, the crazy stalker Mickie James versus Trish Stratus. Still, I look back on that as my favorite storyline heading into that WrestleMania that year. So, good to see them have a little face-off here. But eventually Trish got eliminated. And I believe it came down to Asuka. I think it was Sasha who eliminated Trish. I think Trish was mocking Sasha, her little, boss pose or whatever. And then Sasha eliminated her. And then her and Asuka had a little bit of a face-off. And she kind of attacked Asuka and was directing the Bellas to beat her down. So it was the four of them. And we got just a little tease, just a little taste of what heel Sasha looks like. And in that moment, it was great. It's like, man, damn, I miss heel Sasha, you know, and it looked really cool in that moment. So the Bellas were kind of like, you know, her backup there, and she had Asuka in position for the elevator knees, and when she went up, the Bella Twins pushed her off and pushed her out of the ring and eliminated her, which I thought was funny. Nikki ended up eliminating Brie, which I also thought was funny. So it came down to Nikki and Asuka. They were fighting. They were both on the ring apron, over the top rope, both on the apron, and Asuka kind of like kicked Nikki's feet from under her. She fell off the apron, and Asuka won the Women's Royal Rumble. She got to stand tall, remains undefeated, and is now going to WrestleMania to challenge the champion of her choosing. So, a good match. Very happy to see Asuka win it all, which was the right move to do. I didn't mention it earlier, but the champions, the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, were both sitting out there watching the match. Then they both got in the ring, and right when it looked like Asuka was going to make her choice of who she wanted to challenge, we heard Ronda Rousey come out. She has the Roddy Piper-esque font to her name. She came out there, got a huge ovation. She got in the ring, looked at all three women, and pointed at the WrestleMania sign, and then left. She went over to shake Stephanie McMahon's hand, started slapping hands with the fans at ringside, and they went off the air with that. So that was pretty cool. I think it was I guess their version of a swerve to not put her in the match itself, but to have her come out afterwards. Happy to see her though. Really happy, because if she was in the match, then she would have won. And I don't think I would have liked seeing Asuka lose, even if it's not her getting pinned. I'm not sure I'm cool with seeing Asuka lose just yet. But I thought this was really cool. Very curious to see where this leads. I think it's pretty obvious where it leads. I think we're getting Asuka and Alexa Bliss. Meanwhile, we're going to get Charlotte and Ronda Rousey for both of the respective championships at WrestleMania. So that should be pretty cool. And ESPN, like right after she came out and was in the ring, they were the first to report that Ronda has signed an exclusive deal with WWE, a full-time deal, so she's not some part-time girl. She's or woman. She's full-time. She's all in. She is not the Brock Lesnar of the women's division. She is, maybe in terms of how her character will be portrayed, but in terms of her dates, she's all in. She's full-time. So I thought that was pretty cool of them to announce. Very curious to see where this is going to go with Ronda Rousey in WWE. So that was the Rumble. Like I said, I enjoyed it. The two Rumble matches and the Triple Threat Championship match were the biggest takeaways, and since those were the matches this show was built around, I say this show gets a thumbs up from me. Maybe not the best Rumble show overall, but definitely two of the best Rumble matches in years, that's for sure. Last year was okay. 2016 was pretty good. 2015 and 14 sucked. 13 was forgettable, you know, that kind of stuff. So I don't know how far back it goes. I gotta maybe look over a lot of them. I kind of only looked at some of my favorite Rumble matches the past few weeks. And not a lot of them include some from the past few years. But these were definitely two of the best Rumble matches in the last few years. And yeah, happy to see Nakamura stand tall. Happy to see Asuka stand tall. WrestleMania is looking like it's going to be pretty damn good. At least for now. Well, when they announce that Undertaker is going to face John Cena, I'm sure my opinions on WrestleMania 34 will change. But until then, in the now, as far as the Rumble is concerned, a good show. I enjoyed it. Next time I'll be talking to you guys will be in 4 weeks, I guess, for the Elimination Chamber. Talking about Roman Reigns winning the Elimination Chamber match, I'm sure. So yeah, that's about it for me. This show gets a thumbs up. And yeah, good night, folks.